Welcome to the First Responders Wealth Network. Our mission is to help all first responders change their mindset towards money and educate how to build long-term wealth through real estate investing. Are you ready?
All right, well, today on the show, I got Kory MacKinnon. Welcome, brother.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. So we talked a little bit of what we want to talk about today, so I'm excited to get you on the show. You've done extremely well over the years, and you got a lot to offer, and especially even now you're helping a lot of your coaching clients, and you got a new book coming out, and you got a big project on the go that maybe you can mention as well. So why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll start from there.
Sure, guys. So my name is Kory MacKinnon. I'm from the big town of Sarnia, Ontario. Population 65,000 for a lot of you in Ontario and Canada. You'll probably know where I'm from. But I invest in Sarnia, London. I've done a little bit of investing in Windsor. And I've been doing this for about 15 years now. And I was able to leave my corporate job after about 6 or 7 years in real estate investing. And I didn't even get started till I was 30. So for all of you that are in your 20s still and you're kind of going, oh, I don't have my first deal yet, I rented until I was 30 years old. So
there's hope for us too. And
there's a lot of hope, right? And it's not always about when you actually get started, but for me, it was like, once I got started, I wanted to definitely ramp it up and just, my first property, it was never ever going to be just one property. It was always going to be, let's go get a bunch of these and get out of the workforce with them. So
cool. So let's just paint a little picture around you so people can get to know you. So you had a corporate job before. What were you doing?
Yeah, so I don't know if people have ever heard of Student Works Painting. It's a company that we hire university and college age students to go out and run a painting franchise in the summer months. So it's kind of like the junior
College Pro or something like that.
Very similar to College Pro. College Pro started up in the 70s. We started up in the 80s. And but I like to equate it to the junior achievement of university students. So, you go out there, you don't have to go figure out your own product and your own service. It's already figured out for you. You just plug yourself into the system. You go be a franchisee, owner, operator for a season. So it's great because they learn marketing and sales experience, grassroots type skills that people need to be an entrepreneur these days.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing that in college. So when I was 19 years old, I saw an ad in the newspaper because this was like pre-internet era, or maybe we had like chat rooms and stuff, and that was really it.
Yeah.
So applied, got the position, did well for 2 summers, and then I got promoted to being an area manager, and then I was basically worked my way up to the vice president of Eastern Canada for the next 12 years. So I did that for a total of 17 years.
Nice.
And was always interested in real estate. I actually didn't get approved for my first mortgage that I wanted to. I guess I could have agreed to go pay 2 or 3% higher to get approved, because in my early 20s, I thought it'd be a good idea to, spend before I made. And, then when the commissions weren't there in my first season, I started kind of doing the credit card thing where I was using cash advances off one credit card to pay the other one. And I did miss a payment or two, and I didn't realize the impact that was going to have. It was like a 5-year impact, they're just scratching your credit score. And I was already kind of young and building up my credit to begin with. So then it took a step backwards. So I just decided to rent. I was house hacking. I had read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'd read Wealthy Barber. And then I also saw my first, boss or district manager in Student Works Painting. He was doing the same thing. He had a duplex upstairs. He had 4 bedrooms he was renting out, and then the basement he had a 2-bedroom apartment.
Nice.
Figured, if Charles McClendon can do it, then I can do this as well.
There you go.
When that first mortgage didn't work out, I ended up getting a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 other roommates. It was a 2-bedroom double living room setup. So I basically said, look, guys, this is a really big apartment. You guys can both have the bedrooms. I'll go take one of the double living rooms. And I put up some China walls, and I had a desk. I had my bench, just a few things I could do in there, work out and work. And I was self-employed, so I was on the road a lot. I was a road warrior with my job.
Yeah.
And I did that for, 3 years, and then the house came up for sale. So I ended up buying this big old 6-plex as one of my first deals, which, I still own it. It's doubled in value, and it's actually coming up on the anniversary date of 15 years. So.
Wow. Good for you.
Years.
So that pretty much sparked your interest, and you kind of really saw the opportunity of passive income and just the value increase so much. And then is that what really gave you the bug, would you say?
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm a numbers guy, so I'd always done very, very well in math when I was in, high school and college. And, I can literally just look at a spreadsheet and I just get it, right? I'm actually a profiled at the mathematical genius type level, visual genius
Wow.
level. I'm a visual learner, and
We should be partners. We should be partners then.
there you go, right? I always tell people you don't need to be extremely great at math, but you need to be math literate. You need to understand the simple math. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I just saw the power of real estate. It's like, where else can you have all these different things going in your advantage, right? The mortgage is paying itself down. If you're getting appreciation, that's great. You're getting some cash flow. You're getting some tax advantages. And, I'm a smart person too. I'm a big researcher. I'm a big knowledge person. I love to learn. So when I started researching other avenues for wealth, I'm just like, the stock market, I can't really control it the same way that I can with real estate. Like, I like something I can touch and feel and kick and improve and polish it up. And, it's not at the mercy of the marketplace. If I can increase rents and decrease expenses and it's in a good part of town, and I'm going to get rewarded for that because I can burr that or, do a refinance and pull out some equity. That's what I love to do. Right. And I've done that dozens of times over now.
And I think that's the one thing people worry about is, well, what happens if we're at the peak of the market? Well, that's fine. Well, you buy a property that cash flows, and as long as you have the fundamentals down, you can withstand whatever comes in the economy, as long as you have a desirable spot to live. So I think that's definitely like one thing that people worry about. And it just, like you said, in understanding the property analysis, the fundamentals, and having that system in place so you can weather any storm.
That's right. And when people are into real estate, you really do have to play the long game. If you want to do buy and hold, then, whenever I buy a property, I'm always thinking 5 to 10 years, sometimes 20 years. If this is kind of like a property that I just want to hold on to and hand down to my kids sometime, it's definitely the long game. And unfortunately, in this state of the world, or, with people coming and being raised in this time in life, the whole long game and the long-term vision just isn't as big of a thing as when I was younger. Right. So we didn't have things that were pinging us all the time, and we couldn't go get results instantly or even research things instantly. Right. I mean, I still remember going to the library and having to pull up whatever resource you needed to go get the information you needed. Right now, it's like literally you just pick up your phone,
instantaneous.
Talk to Siri, talk to Alexa, whatever, they'll get you the answer. So,
yeah. No, I know. And like, I know we talked about before, it's a common theme all the time, is just, it's people just not understanding even what they want. So it's like, what type of investment do you want? And it's asking themselves that question. And I had to do the same thing. Not everyone's going to get this crazy equity that the market's had in the last 5 years forever. So it's, you have to be realistic about what it is you want and where we're at. So, the one thing I really wanted to get your feedback on, because I know even with myself and other people that I help out as well and coach, it's, I had the question here, what do you find your clients struggle with the most? And I'm sure it's a common theme, but what do you see as a common trend with new investors?
Yeah, great point. So there's the question there. The answer is going to be sort of like multifolded answer, but some of the most common hurdles would be, and it's very common not just in real estate investing, but in any business, because I also coach people in business as well. It's trying to do it all yourself. Okay, so or thinking the way that maybe your parents might have thought if your parents aren't real estate investors. So this is how my parents would have thought. Okay, so you save up, your full. For my first property, it was a 25% down payment. So save up the full 25% down payment on that sixplex, because you don't want to pay CMHC fees. And then you just, keep working your day job until you have that another 25% down payment, and you go put another one down maybe in 2 or 3 years. And maybe, after 20 years, you'll have 5 properties or something like that. Right. So thinking slow and thinking only including yourself. Whereas if people want to scale, like, you can do this all yourself, maybe up to like property 3 or 4, but at some point you're going to have to really make a legitimate business model out of it, where you're bringing in either money partners, other investors looking for hard money. You can't always be looking at yourself. Like, you don't always have all the resources, and we live in such an abundant world, And it's so easy to reach out and find these resources in everybody's social network in their circle, whether it's, joint venture partners, money partners, contractors, whatever it might be, right? So try to get out of the mindset of I need to do this all myself, or I need to have 100% of the deal. It's like, no, it's so much better. If I had one advice to give to my, 30-year-old self in the beginning, it's like, go and joint venture with other people. You'll pick up properties 2, 4, 10 times quicker. And it's always much better to have half of something than,
half of nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. What does Mark Cuban say, right? It's better to have half of a watermelon than a whole grape. Which,
yeah. I love that line. Yeah. No, it's so true. It's true.
If you look at the people that are doing the biggest deals, like if you want to get into a small apartment building, typically people don't, there's multiple partners when it comes to apartment buildings, or big, syndications. There's a lot of people involved in that. So, so that's the one thing. Try not to do it all yourself, and then make sure you're getting educated and supported to build a proper team around you so that you can really thrive. I kind of coach the entrepreneur model from the E-Myth, and if you have a certain personality type, that's great, because I'm not telling people to change who they are, but you can usually break entrepreneurs down into either they are like a pure entrepreneur visionary, they're thinking into the future, or you have that manager person who's good with managing people and projects. They usually live in the past because they're thinking about past results that are going to predict future outcomes.
Yeah.
You have like that technician or that artist who just likes to help, do all the handiwork and work the tools all the time. They live in the present, so they're just they can't seem to think more than a month or 12 months out. So it's good. You need all those people on your team, but you need them in the right balance. You need to have the right strengths. So even if your business partner if you're both like entrepreneurs, you'll actually never get anything done, because you're just thinking of like all these great visions and ideas that aren't going to get executed on if you don't have the right people in place.
And that's important, I think, too, is just like people who are listening. I mean, I've had a lot of great people on this podcast, and if anyone resonates with you or you need someone to fill that role, I mean, reach out to them, because I mean, they're on here for a reason. They're doing what they're doing, and you're doing what you're doing, and everyone has their specific skill set, or their quote unquote superpower in those areas. And it's like it's important to connect yourself with those people, because you really can't do it all, especially with my market who I'm reaching out to is my own. It's, we're working full time, we're working shift work, and you can't do it all yourself. I mean, if you're young and, super motivated, you can, but it's going to take you a long time, and you'll make a lot more mistakes. And that's the big one there too, is you want to eliminate those mistakes and leverage people's knowledge. So.
Exactly. Right. And the biggest thing, guys, is, time. We don't know how much time we have, and it's such a precious commodity because it's not renewable. You can try to get it back and all that stuff, and you can fool yourself.
Valuable point. Yep.
But when it comes to the velocity, if you want to be successful, you got to think about velocity of money. Like, how often can you turn your money over? How quickly can you turn a unit over? Like how, right now I'm doing some short-term furnished rentals, right? So we're doing Airbnb. I mean, I put together an Airbnb unit in 2 days. One day is shop and drop, and then the next day is like kind of putting it all together, and then we're ready to go and get this thing live, right? And we're already promoting it and marketing it before it's actually done, so that we hit the ground running. Same with our unit turnovers, right? If we have a tenant that's moving out, we know that the place is going to need a clean or a paint or whatever, we'll actually get in before they move out.
That's. Yeah. And that comes back to, I also wanted to touch on was, a lot of people have the fear of getting started, and tenant issues is a major one that I always hear, I don't want those horror stories. Well, there's a process in place that you need to follow and do your own due diligence. Otherwise you could fall into those traps. But if you do your homework and follow your steps, and if you talk to someone who knows what they're doing, they can help you guide you through that. But I mean, I've managed up to 12 doors, and, just personally, and I've never had a NSF check, because I've done my homework, and maybe I've been lucky, but it's because I've done my homework, and I know that you're very good at that skill set as well, and you teach a lot about that.
Yeah. So let's chat a little bit just around that fear of, working with tenants and whatnot. And
sure.
Maybe you were lucky there, Dave, and luck goes to people that are prepared, and they put in the time and effort too, right? Because I've never not gotten paid for any of my units that I put people into. I've had one tenant that didn't pay me for a check, and it was somebody I inherited, and I was actually happy to have them not pay that rent. We went to tribunal, they got out, and then we just did a refresh on their unit, and we raised the rent by $500, and it dramatically increased the value of the building. But I was given this quote a long time ago: "There's no such thing as a bad tenant, only an uneducated landlord." Okay,
Absolutely.
So if you take time to surround yourself with the right people, and fill yourself up with the right knowledge, this stuff won't be as intimidating. Okay, and take it from me, like I'm married to a high school teacher, so typically teachers are very risk adverse, and when I go to their teacher staff meetings, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm I'm a property owner. So they just look at me like I have two heads.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah, super risky and all these other things. But it's like, I take a lot of the risk out of it because I have already mapped out my ideal scenario, and that's what I'm going for, right? So I'm only renting to good people in good parts of town, and we have nice, desirable properties. Like, we don't pick up properties that have any really weird room dimensions or just bad renovations and things like that. I call it, let's try to avoid the Frankenstein type stuff out there.
Yeah.
Good piecemeal together, and when you have a good product and you deliver good service to people, they do the right thing.
No. And then it's also, which I have found, is just keeping that relationship with your tenants too. I mean, it's just the little things that you do along the way that help build not only a little community or mini culture within your multifamily or whatever it is you own, whether it's even a single family, but and then they show that respect back. So you have to give a little bit more than they give you. And that's with anything in life. But, especially in when it comes to renters, because they see that, they appreciate it. And then they usually give that little bit more effort to show that respect back, or because, they're appreciated here. Well, I want to appreciate this house too. And it is my home, and I want to treat it like that. So,
that's right.
And
it's definitely a relationship type of business, and tenants are always going to think that you're Mr. Moneybags and you're making a ton of money.
Yeah.
Sometimes even break it down, like, look, by the time you pay all these different things, we're not really making a whole lot of money here. We're playing the long game, and we're making $200 a month, and that goes into a kitty for future big repairs like roof and windows and all these other things. So, we are the ultimate delayed gratification kind of a setup here, and you need to have a presence at your properties too. Like, you can't just give them the keys and never be around again, right? So sometimes I'll purposely leave a couple little easy things to repair so we can get back in their unit in the first week or two, and just see how they're starting to set up shop. And we have like a 5-page document, not just a lease, but we have like all these expectations, because we're actually training them how to be a good tenant, right? So we have a document. If anybody wants it, they can reach out to me. Go message me on my website, KoryMacKinnon.com. I'll send you our 30 points to thrive that we use for our tenants, because at that point we're teaching them how to manage utilities, how to manage things like water, no heat situations, laminate floors, laminate countertops, things that don't last forever, but they could last forever if you keep really good care of them, right? So how to take care of your hardwood floors and carpets, and do's and don'ts, right? So that they understand the house rules that you want to engage with them on, and go from there, right?
That's good. I'll put that on my show notes as well, guys. So
sure.
Yep.
If I was more tech savvy, I'd actually make like a little online quiz for them to do, so they actually learn all these things, and I give them a little gift or something once they complete it. They can do it once every 4 or 6 months, so they can continue to get rewarded and continue to know all the house rules, so they will always do the right thing, right? It's like, because you want to almost be like, what would Jesus do, but what would Kory do if he wasn't there and he was living in his own property? That's what you want to be teaching your tenants. Okay. Right. So I really enjoy managing rental properties and teaching. I've never found a property management company that can do it better than me. So I actually train all my staff in-house, and then we just let them roll with our systems. So.
And I also get a lot of like gratification and satisfaction out of going, and even if it's a small repair, just fixing it, them being happy, getting that feedback and just letting them know that I actually care. It's, and then it's rewarding also too, because you're getting that paycheck at the end of the month and you've earned it. So no, I think it's true. And no one puts as much care and love and effort into it as much as the homeowner. And if you're managing your own properties, they usually see that. So.
Yes. And you want to make sure that they also don't think that you're too busy, because that's also going to be one of their most common misconceptions. Oh, you're busy, you work another job. I'm just not going to bother you about it. Or sorry, the toilet was leaking for 2 weeks, but I know you're busy. I always let them know, I'm never too busy to take a call. There's no such thing as a silly issue on the property, because like one water drip, I remember one time we had a water drip in that first sixplex that we bought, and they didn't tell us for 2 months, and that water drip turned into having to repair the whole ceiling and a plumbing repair, and it ended up being over $1,000. So I'm like, okay, this is an awkward conversation now, but who's really responsible to pay for this when you didn't tell me that there was, a cracked bowl in your toilet?
Yeah.
Dripping for the past, over 2 months. So
yeah, no, it's a two-way street, and it's important to understand that. And that's why you get people, if you've never done it and you're worried about doing it, let's reach out, get your list, or talk to people who are doing it, and they can just help you down. It's really not rocket science. It's just common sense, but you need to implement it, really.
Yeah.
And you need a structure in place. So
yeah, there's a lot of wash, rinse, repeat in this business. And it's, when you have reliable systems in place and rules and procedures about how to go about things, it makes it a lot easier for sure.
Yeah. So what are you looking at doing right now as far as your investment strategy, even personally, Kory?
Yeah, great question, guys. So for me, I'm looking to get into bigger projects. So I've recently picked up a church with a business partner. We were negotiating on it about a year ago right now.
Mm-hmm.
We closed on it in August, and then we worked really hard for that next 6 weeks and got it ready for zoning change. So we got the zoning change from, church, which it was just zoned as a duplex. I'm not even sure why it was zoned as a duplex, but now we've got it for multifamily residential, and we're getting quotes on, should we keep it as is? Should we tear it down, start over again? Our preference is that we would like to keep it as is and build within the existing shell. And
which I'm sure is very unique, and that probably would bring a lot of character to the property as well, right?
It would be. I mean, it's a pretty utilitarian type church. It's very boxy. It looks actually more like a school, like a multiple story grade school.
Okay.
And we got approved for 32 units. So
wow. I'd love to actually ask you about that process, because I'm going through something similar. But what was that process like, going from literally a duplex, which is a completely different zone? I'm not sure what it's like up in Sarnia, if it's the same as down here, but to a commercial zoning permit?
Yes. Great question. So I've been to a few different cities for zoning changes before. And I mean, my first advice is always go to the city and get a pre-meeting. Okay. So you can have a pre-meeting. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes it's going to cost you a couple $100, and they'll hopefully, there'll be multiple people in the room, so they can give you a good sense if it's worth, going through the full approval process. And for us, they just kind of laid it out. They just gave us the big laundry list, and they just said, look, it's, we have a sense that we would support this kind of a project, and you need to do this, and this to be able to do it. I think if your project is totally out to lunch, they'll let you know. They're not going to make you go and cut that big check and go through the whole process just to go make some money, right? So for us, just to be able to do the zoning change, that was a $5,400 check. And other cities are much more expensive, right? I remember in London, it jumped from $3,500 to like $8,000. So we just ended up leaving that unit as is once we added up all the costs. And I just said, look, I can probably do a lot with this commercial unit, because I was trying to go from 5 units in one commercial to 6 residential.
Oh wow. Yeah. So that's a big difference.
Yeah. So, and it was going to be $10,000. It was going to be a $10,000 experiment. So I said, I'm going to keep it as commercial right now, and we're just going to do a bunch of renovations and make it super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. For this one, then there was a whole bunch of these studies and plans that we had to do. We had to do traffic study and, studies of all the sewer and waste and,
yep.
We ended up spending like $40,000 just to get this thing to the starting line for the city council meeting. So,
wow. So you're pretty confident, obviously, because of that pre-meeting and having those discussions and them kind of maybe assisting you along the way, that you would be successful after investing that kind of dough into the zoning verification.
Yes.
and altering. Yeah.
Yeah, and we already kind of did our napkin math many times over in spreadsheets. What is the highest best use of the property? It was to be multi-family residential.
Of course.
Yeah. So
Nice. That's interesting. Well, so what stage are you at now with that?
Right now, we're basically picking the builder, and then we're going to be going for building permits and actually breaking ground. So being in a small city, there's only so many people that can do a project like this, and we're actually probably going to be bringing in somebody from slightly out of town to do it. So
nice. Well, good for you. I look forward to hearing the process and the progress that you're doing there too. So,
yeah, so I'll keep posting about it for sure. So
yeah, and you're on social media, obviously, like everyone else. But so Facebook and Instagram, give that a little shout out too, so people can follow you.
Yeah, people just look me up. So I'm Kory with a K, so Kory. Just look me up by my full name. I don't have any. I guess I was on there early enough where I could actually, kind of secure my own name. And
yeah, tough these days.
Matt Smith or anything like that. I've actually got some Matt Smith friends. So, so yeah, just go reach out, go find me, because I'm always trying to give back, guys. I've realized that my main mission in life is to help other people struggle less. And I want to make sure that people can get to their results bigger, better, faster without having to struggle. So that's my mission. And I try to, every week I'm doing a Facebook Live, and I'm always posting little tips and tricks. And I've got blog posts. I'm going to be starting up a YouTube channel this year. So, and probably starting my own podcast, once I get some of these other things on route first. So
perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, you got a lot of good experience and knowledge, and you should share it, because even just the short time I've known you, you've been very generous and very open. One thing I like about you, Kory, is you have that calm demeanor, yet very methodical way of and honest way of presenting your material and your knowledge. So it's good. It's comforting to know that you're actually coming from a good place too. So.
Yeah, I'm a straight to the point kind of person. And I just, again, I've had some losses in life, and I just realized how valuable time is. And I guess I've always just been kind of straight to the point. I don't dance around, the elephant in the room. If there's something that needs to be changed, we just go and change it. Or if somebody needs to be, told something, we just start a conversation about it. And, I can also balance all kinds of different personality types, right? So even though I seem calm, cool, and collected on the surface, there's usually a fire raging inside of things that get down and priorities that need to happen, right? So, and goals that need to be achieved.
I hear you. I'm very similar in that front, believe me. But all right, cool, man. Well, just one more thing. What if there's any suggestions for new investors or people, especially in my field, if you can relate, people working full time, shift work, busy, and the one thing I really want to touch on was if there was a common theme of people's fear getting into investing and that sort of thing. So what do you feel is the best way for people to get started, whether it be even passively, wrapping your head around good opportunities, but also actively diving into your own first rental property?
Great question, guys. And I think this could be applicable to almost anything. So even if you're listening to this podcast and you want to get a little side business going or something, a couple pieces of advice would be, number one, go and just, don't waste your time like binging on Netflix and all that other stuff. Spend your extra time wisely and invest it in like a, education in your car. Okay. So go and binge on all of Dave's podcasts here. And there's lots of great podcasts here in Canada as well. So spend your time with quality content, learning from people either on podcasts or YouTube. Now that won't get you so far. Second thing would be, if you have the time, go and mentor or go and, just work with other people, even if it's for free in the industry that you want to learn more about. And I've had people approach me as well and just say, hey, I want to learn rental property. Can I help you manage your rentals, or can I help you with your short-term rentals, or can I help you in your business? Because I want to learn this stuff too. And if that doesn't work out, you can also go and hire mentors and coaches and stuff too, and just make sure you're getting in the right rooms with the right people. There's free content, which is kind of cookie cutter and can fit everybody, but then there's more specific strategy type things that typically you need to hire a mentor or coach for that sort of thing to go to the next level. Even myself, right? I've been doing this sort of stuff, business and real estate for, mainly business for 25 years. Every year I still go seek mentors and coaches and guides, because I'm always thinking a half generation ahead. Where do I want to be in the next 10, 20 years? And if I don't know how to get there, I'm not going to struggle a lot and waste a lot of time. I'm just going to go write a check and go learn from brilliant people on how to do it and do more of what they've done, right? Because we're all fully capable. We know where we are. We know where we want to be. Lots of times we just don't know how to bridge the gap. But Don't just stand there and do nothing. I mean, go do something about it, right? So all big things always start small. So start with a commitment of just, listening to all these different podcasts and YouTube channels, and you'll eventually get to where you want to be.
No, it's perfect. I find like a lot of entrepreneurs or business people are a little bit more open to writing that check and paying for mentorship or guidance or whatever it may be to get to that next level without making those mistakes and eliminate those times or that time frame. But where I find, just me being in my own community, where first responders, I feel they're not always as open to that. So, if you're listening to this podcast, I think you're already on the fence, or you have that ability to do that. But just don't shy away from anyone who has a good track record, someone that resonates with you and what it is they're doing that you want to do specifically, and learn from those people. And like you said, whether it be just giving free value to them in your free time and you can be mentored that way, or paying a check, getting your coaching and trying to achieve what it is you want to do in a shorter period of time. And I'm telling you, like, that's what I did for multiple stages of what I'm doing. Even now, I'm still paying for coaching and mentoring, and it really never ends, but it all comes down to what it is you want to do. So figure out what you want to do, find someone that's doing it, and try and learn from them.
That's right. And just ask yourself, I remember when I retired from corporate, right? And here's an advice for anybody that does end up, retiring from corporate with real estate. Make sure you have your next play, in life figured out, right? Same with when I retired from being a national level athlete. I used to be a national level athlete, and I didn't have the next stage of my life figured out. So there's just this big empty void. But always be asking yourself, like, what really is my mission in life? What is my true calling? If I didn't have to work every single day, what would I be doing? Real estate is usually a means to an end. So it's like you make money here, you do well here to go do other things for other people, right? So for me, it was just natural to give back and do mentoring. And I was a peer tutor literally since grade 5. I've been tutoring people and helping other people because I know what it's like to struggle and not always have what you want to have in life, right? So I want to make sure I can not do it for other people, but at least help people, get an easier path and struggle a little bit less. But it's just make sure you're surrounding yourself. If there's only 2 first responders in your division that have open minds, and just spend more time with them, and you'll still love and support other people in your network too. Just realize they're probably not going to help you, buy all the real estate that you want to buy. Okay. So make sure you're getting out to the meetup groups, make sure you're surrounding yourself on a regular basis with other people that are doing it. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Perfect. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, and hopefully this will get people motivated, and maybe if they want to reach out to you. Your website again, just last second there.
It's KoryMacKinnon.com. So www.KoryMacKinnon. You can, fill out a contact form if you want to get in touch. We are going to be uploading some new content on there, and find me on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So reach out and stay in touch and learn.
Cool, guys. And it's all for your retirement, post-work. Think about that. Not now, but later.
Right.
Okay.
Play the long game. Play the long game.
Absolutely. All right. Cheers, brother. Thank you very much.
It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and review on iTunes. Also, check out our website at 911wealthnetwork.com or contact Dave directly at 911wealthnetwork.com. Stay safe out there.